Welcome to the Socially Isolated College Kids Podcast, aka the S.I.C.K Podcast, where we will be discussing movies, TV shows, video games, basically just whatever we're doing to pass the time. I am joined by three of the hottest voices in film criticism. Edison.
You know it. That's me. Woo!
Blake.
What's up?
And Cameron.
How's it?
To discuss 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, spoiler alert, for this podcast, is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time.
But I am really disappointed that you said that.
It's okay. We'll talk. We got it. We'll talk about it.
All right.
Before we do that, how you guys doing? How's your week been?
It's been all right. I've got a very light week this week, which is nice. I don't have lots of classes, so that's nice.
Awesome.
I had cantaloupe this morning.
Ooh. Was it good?
How do you guys feel about cantaloupe?
I hate it. I hate melon.
I think melon can be good if it's with something else. I would never just I want cantaloupe and no other fruit.
Oh, I've eaten a whole honeydew by myself before.
Really?
I'm totally with you. I think honeydew and cantaloupe are so underrated.
See, but if I get a fruit salad, I'm eating everything but the melon.
That's wrong.
I would agree. Would agree.
You're only supposed to eat the melon.
That's what it. It's just it's like cardboard. It's like the cardboard fruit.
No, it's not.
Absolutely, it is.
I mean, if we're talking about fruits and vegetables, I think radish is the worst.
Ew.
And you can't.
Radish
is so
I don't
bad,
vibe.
right? So I had radish for the first time actually in high school, and I had spit it out immediately because it tastes like spicy dirt, and there's no other way to describe the flavor.
Yeah,
of
it kind of tastes like feet. It's not good.
It's just bad. It's really bad.
I honestly don't know if I've ever had it. So
speaking of feet, that's what this movie reminded me of. It smells like feet.
All right. Yeah.
All right,
so I guess
on.
Should we just get into it?
No, actually, before we get into it, I got a couple things I want to run by you guys. So
yeah, sure.
And I was on my phone earlier today, and an article popped up, and apparently yesterday on HBO Max there was a glitch where people went and they clicked on Tom and Jerry, and the Snyder Cut Justice League started playing.
That is the funniest thing.
That's amazing.
I'm so sad that I didn't get to do that, but why would I have been watching Tom and Jerry? Yeah, so
I don't know.
Just looking forward, when does that come out? Do we have a date for that? I can look that up if we don't know.
I have no idea when it comes out. I just thought it was funny that people went to watch Tom and Jerry, and instead the Snyder Cut started playing.
Yeah, I was see. Says the 18th of March. So when is that? That's next Thursday.
That's next Thursday. Wow.
So we won't do it next podcast, but the one after that.
Yeah, we'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch a lot of Tom and Jerry as a kid?
Not really.
I love Tom and Jerry.
Blake, what about you? You watch Tom and Jerry?
It was one of those things where if it was on, I'd watch it, but I would never go out of my way to watch it.
Yeah, same here with me.
I think
I've seen a couple.
I think it did a great job of having two animated characters with no dialogue for a majority of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being entertained by it, but I was going to ask though, what were you guys go-to cartoons as a kid?
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. It's just good.
Does the Backyardigans count?
Oh, I love the Backyardigans. Now
I love
that's
the
some
Backyardigans.
100%.
Absolutely. Oh.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo was a little bit older. Definitely, I watched the Backyardigans and
Max
Sesame
and
Street, Ruby and Max. I love that show too.
Absolutely. I think, and then also, maybe it was a little older, but then I totally got into Pokemon and Bakugan and Yu-Gi-Oh and Beyblade and Scan-to-Go, and anyway, I'm really cool.
Original Teen Titans.
Yeah, you are.
Original Teen Titans.
Oh my god, the original Teen Titans. Absolutely.
Original Teen Titans is really good.
Yeah.
Actually, you could tell how dark the episode was going to be because they had two different intros. There was the Japanese one, there's the English one. If I'm correct, the Japanese one would play if it was like a lighthearted episode, but for the darker, like more serious episodes, they would actually use the English theme song.
It's interesting.
Interesting.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
See,
All right.
I unfortunately have spent way more time watching Teen Titans Go than the original Teen Titans.
I have too,
Yeah.
but only because it's just on all the time. Like when you go to a hotel.
yeah,
just
I mean,
on.
I liked it. I liked it when I was like a kid,
Right.
but
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I get you. All right. So just some general entertainment news before we get into the Amazing Spider-Man 2, or as I like to call it, the not so Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks. I spent a lot of time coming up with that one. It's written down
that
here
was, that was
somewhere.
Really funny.
So Snyder Cut comes out, 2 weeks. Not a whole lot coming out soon, except for Snyder Cut comes out. Godzilla vs. King Kong is coming out at the end of the month. WandaVision is obviously over now, but Falcon Winter Soldier picks up not this Friday, but next Friday, I believe, is when the first one comes out. But there are only 6 of those. I think they're longer episodes, but less of them is what I read, I believe.
Yeah, I remember them talking about that.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be coming together, maybe doing shorter recaps of episodes, or maybe doing a series recap, depending on what we're feeling like. So,
Yep.
I don't know
That's cool.
if there's anything else entertainment news wise.
All right.
Anything big?
I
at
got
least.
one little thing, one other thing, and then I think we can jump in. We can jump into Spider-Man. But
yeah.
I'm thinking maybe we do a weekly segment where Cameron gets mad at me for talking about how Godzilla is going to kick King Kong's butt.
If you guys,
King Kong.
if
King
any of
Kong,
our
King Kong, King
future listeners are team Godzilla, just don't listen to the podcast anymore.
No. Is
It's
it wait? So
King
is it
Godzilla.
actually a direct split? Because I absolutely believe that Godzilla is going to win.
I
I'm
think so,
pretty.
too. It's
So
Godzilla.
there's the people that say that Godzilla's gonna win, and then there's the Kong fans who realize that Kong is gonna win the first fight, and then they're gonna team up at the end to defeat Mechagodzilla.
See, but
Blake, how
Godzilla's
are you
got like a
feeling?
projectile. Like, how do you
'Cause-
beat that as a monkey?
You have an axe. Also,
Yeah,
right
you
now,
just
King
stand
Kong
farther away.
is King Kong is
course.
1-0 against Godzilla. I just want to throw that out there. But we'll
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk
that's
about that more
That
when
is
the movie
correct.
comes out.
Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, we'll definitely
Blake-
do that when that comes out.
Blake,
too, so.
are you Team King Kong?
Yeah, I have a sign in my room that says Team Kong on it.
Good.
That's
No,
so
you
funny.
don't. Why?
Yes, I do.
For real?
Yeah, like actually.
That's so funny. No, I'm Godzilla, man. I'm with you, Zach.
All right, I guess that'll be a good episode too.
That will be a
But-
good
Oh,
episode,
yeah.
especially with the 50-50 split.
What I was gonna say is that apparently Cameron keeps talking about Mechagodzilla, but apparently there's like merchandise that's out for the movie right now that has like Mechagodzilla like on it, and
Yeah.
so I guess in case it wasn't confirmed, it's confirmed that there's going to be a Mechagodzilla, which is
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was bound to
Yeah,
happen. I feel like
I think it was always suspected.
Mecha Godzilla was like Agnes being Agatha Harkness. Like
Yeah.
I guess we didn't know for sure, but we knew.
It was
Spoilers
Mechagodzilla
for
all along.
WandaVision.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whoops. Is that a
Oopsie-daisy.
spoiler? It's been like 4 weeks now. It's been a month.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
all good.
it's whatever.
Well, I mean, it's still if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, you should
It's
watch
okay.
it. You'd like it, I think. We all have our own opinions on it. We'll talk about it at some point, probably, but not today. Today we're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
All right,
The second
guys,
one.
let's go around. What is everyone's
Boo.
kind of like general thoughts? Like Blake, how are you feeling about the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
As a person who has like not a good attention span, I think there were certain parts of the movie that were drawn out too long and certain parts that were way too quick. But I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. It is a long movie. It's like two
It's
and
a
a half
long
hours.
movie.
Yes.
I know.
It's
very
It went-
long.
It's
It's way too long.
It's too long of a superhero
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Cameron, how you
like-
feeling? How you feeling?
So my reasoning, like my lens that I take it into, with the exception of a few like superhero movies or like in the realm of superheroes, like Joker obviously is an exception, but it's how how does it translate to the comics, or how does it like how well does it reflect the source material? If I were to grade the Amazing Spider-Man 2 on referencing the source material, it would probably get a failing grade. Only
Wow.
because
I don't know for sure.
only
so, I
because
don't know it
of
very well.
the disrespect that it gave some of the characters. It is unforgivable in my opinion.
Sure.
When we
I guess
to our least favorite parts of the movie, I'm gonna restrain myself as much as possible, but they massacred Rhino in this movie. Arguably, he's up there with Jamie Foxx. With Jamie Foxx's whole character a waste. Jamie Foxx is wasted.
We'll talk when we get there. We'll talk about it.
I guess Cameron's going to be the like comic book guy because I'm not as familiar with that kind of stuff. To be honest,
I'm semi-familiar. I could tell you some things, but I don't know very well in depth. So Cameron will definitely be the go-to.
Yeah, Blake don't know squat, so
I'm with you, Blake.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah, my general thoughts. This is my first time. There were only 2 of the Garfield ones, right? They never made the third one.
Yes, they only did 2.
Yeah, so I've never seen either of them before, and I still haven't seen the first one. This is this is the first time I've seen the second one. I was pleasantly surprised because I always thought it was going to be terrible, and it's definitely not terrible. It's not great. There are a lot of charming moments, I think, that really shine through, and there's problems. It's a very long movie, but I was pleasantly surprised is how I'm feeling about it currently.
Oh, cool.
So Zach, you had said it's your favorite Spider-Man movie.
This is, actually, I think at this point it's just the greatest film ever made, and
I raised you.
Should have won the Oscar for Best Picture.
That's right. I raised you that one
sure.
Phineas and Ferb movie on Disney Plus that nobody watched. I haven't watched it either, so I don't know for sure.
I feel like I watched it when I was a kid, but anyway, I mean, okay, so you got to understand that, even more than the like older Spider-Man movies, like these movies, like the first Amazing Spider-Man and the second one were like big parts of my like childhood. So I have like a ton of nostalgia for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. And I honestly, like looking back on it now, like having watched it literally last night, I actually feel like there's a pretty decent movie like buried underneath a lot of like really dumb stuff, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
like
I
don't know,
definitely
I
agree
feel
with
like
you on that
there's a lot of good ideas in this movie, and I feel like it's a bummer that certain stuff really does not hold up and feels really sloppy. But I guess we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So Zach, since this is your favorite movie, do you want to kind of give a quick like synopsis kind of deal? Can you? Because I've got notes. So if you want me to do that, but
I also have my notes.
I got this. Don't worry. So we got Peter Parker, right?
Right.
And Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he's shooting webs. But fun fact, his parents like left him, and then his uncle died, so he's like kind of sad and like wants to figure out where his parents went. And then also there's this guy named I forget his character's name, but he's played by Jamie Foxx, and he falls into a thing of eels and becomes Electro.
Max
and then Max, and then Emma Stone is there, and then there's a bunch of other dumb stuff, and that's the movie, guys. That's the movie.
That is the movie. All right, so let's go kind of scene by scene here, right? Like, let's start at this opening scene.
Okay.
My personal thoughts on the opening scene is that emotionally pretty good, visually way too shaky. A lot of shaky cam. I know it's 2014. Like that's a thing, right? Because that's kind of new in 2014 that they're doing that. However, it was sickening. There was too much.
Yeah, I had a note about that.
Yeah,
I put shaky.
Shaky. Blake, I'm curious because you had never seen this movie before, right?
No, I don't know. I don't even know.
So like,
wait, is this is this Marvel or?
Yes,
this is Marvel.
This is Marvel.
Yep.
Okay, am I gonna upset?
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
okay. It's not in the MCU though. It's not an MCU film. It is a Marvel.
Okay.
Because this is
a Marvel Sony film, right?
Yeah. This is when Sony still owned the rights to Spider-Man before the shared deal was made. So
Well, they still do own the rights.
yeah,
right?
but it's a
Technically.
Sony project, but it's with Spider-Man, not directly connected to
Yeah.
Okay.
the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Was
Yeah,
it-
I don't know how many like Marvel movie. I don't know how many I've seen. Probably not many, but it was cool.
That's
I mean,
cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It's cute.
I think Spider-Man is a cool character.
Mm.
He's funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, go ahead.
Blake, like, did you? Because I feel like I almost forgot. Did you know it was like who that character was like at the very beginning? Like, because
What
it's
do you-
Pete. It's
like,
his
what do you
dad.
mean?
It's his parents.
Oh
on the
yeah,
movie.
I had no idea, but obviously I made the connections
Right.
shortly
same with-
after.
same
but
with
at
me.
first, I had no idea, who those people were or what was going
Yeah.
on. The camera
So
was
it kind
shaky.
of comes out of nowhere.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very
Um,
tense.
But then it
there-
transitions pretty seamlessly right into like the first kind of action scene in the movie with Spider-Man and the guy who eventually becomes the Rhino.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, so
Alexi?
let's here's one of the things I wanted to talk about. How do you
Yeah.
guys feel about Spider-Man's like quips?
This is literally what I was just about to say. Andrew Garfield does good quippage in this movie, I feel. I don't know about the first one. I haven't seen
All
it.
right.
But I think that his quippage is not always perfect, but it definitely is like a good Spider-Man quippage, you know?
What is a quippage?
Like
So-
him just saying stupid stuff.
Blake just has no idea what we're talking about.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's just like when he like is kind of like saying jokes and like making fun of people when he's like fighting them and stuff.
Oh.
That's kind of what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I
Yeah.
mean, there are civilians who he could be saving, but for some reason he's having banter with the
Yeah.
villains, which is
That's my
interesting.
that's my exact
Spider-Man's
point. Is like
character.
That is his character.
no, but
so I
here's
don't
the
know.
deal. It's like so there was that literally in the opening sequence. There's a part where he's like he goes up to the window of the Rhino guy and he's like making all these like jokes and stuff. And then literally like after that, like 20 like police cars like collide into each other and fly over, and you
Okay,
gotta wonder like maybe if Spider-Man didn't like have to make jokes, like all those people wouldn't have been like probably
So
killed.
I
basically.
There were
actually-
so many cop cars.
I have a note about that. So realistically, right, they are fitting as many cars as you like. Theoretically, if you've ever been to New York City, you are not fitting that many cars in any given road, right? There's always going to be cars parked on the side. Regardless, let's assume everyone didn't have cars in New York City. They all went to the shop that same day. If it's like if it's 4 police cars wide and like 20 cars back, what are the cars after maybe the second row doing? What, like,
Yeah, why is there
so
still a pile
I
up
get
happening?
that they like kind of set up that they can't have a blockade because the whatever truck they're using like plows through whatever. But you would set up like a spike block, right? So like it would pop the tires. And then
Yeah.
when that truck crashes, or like he brake checks the 2 rows of cars, none of them stop, and they just all try and drive over each other. I think at least
Yeah,
five police officers died in that accident, and then they blame Spider-Man for it. It's kind of his fault because he totally could have stopped the car, but also that's just
Mhm.
careless driving. Like why?
I mean, I
why
honestly
wouldn't?
just feel like I feel like the director of the movie was like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna do cool action sequence now with cars that are gonna
Right.
flip over each
Mhm.
other." Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't
I-
really think about that.
I think that the action in this movie is very on and off. Some of the scenes are like so cool, and some of them are like,
Yeah.
just what is happening?
Mhm.
Why is this happening?
Some of it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, one point I want to bring up that I just now thought of is he's just going around. There's all the radioactive, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. And he webs up all of them except for one in an alley, and we never see it again. Right?
Well, because he
yeah, he kinda leaves
Alexi
them there.
Oh, yeah.
snagged it. He grabs it from the webbing.
He grabs the one.
Yeah.
The first like 6 or 7 he webs up in an alley, and we never see it again. Where'd it go?
I thought that was the one that Alexi grabbed.
No, that's just the single one that he
Oh,
grabbed.
okay. Well, then,
I don't know. Like
who knows?
they just
Also,
like take it and it's gone.
There's a little bit of like, I know like we're supposed to just believe whatever science superhero movies tells us, but they're just wrong about plutonium being radioactive or like explosive or whatever. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they really put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
or
I
any
don't
of
Yeah, I was
it.
gonna say, as a viewer who doesn't, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
And
fair,
and
that's
also
fair.
like talking about scientific explanations to things, like think about when Jamie Foxx becomes Electro. Like,
We'll talk about
Yeah.
that in a second
yeah.
when we get to that scene.
Right.
it was like,
Yeah.
So-
come on, guys.
I think the one good part about this opening scene, and this is arguably one of the best parts of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, when Spider-Man does Spider-Man stuff, it looks really good. Like when he swings around
It
the
does.
cities,
Yeah.
I
there's
agree.
that
Yeah.
really cool like camera shot from like his waist up, and it was almost like a POV. That's
Yeah.
really cool,
Yeah.
and it looked really
Yeah.
good.
Right. I'll say it looks much better than anything that they do in the Tom Holland ones, swinging wise. Like
Oh,
they don't
for
really do
sure.
that
For sure.
in the new ones.
I think
I
in
don't know why that
general,
is.
like not even just with like this scene. I think it's a very visually pleasing movie. I think it's a beautiful looking movie in general. To be
Yeah.
honest,
I agree.
Yeah.
and I just
yeah,
love.
for
I
the
also
most
just
part,
love
yeah.
all the shots of. I love all the shots of New York City too. I remember what like it's just I don't know. I feel like it's really
hmm
they really did a nice job with that.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, the opening scene.
Yeah.
But
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna segue us to the next scene.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the opening scene overall I think is like pretty good. That's my thought process. Is like there's definitely like some weird things,
it
but
does a job.
it's
It does a job.
enticing. Yeah.
There's some weird like tonal shifts, which we'll get into when we talk about like our negatives of the movie. Some weird tonal shifts that I didn't really agree with.
fair.
But during this scene, it cuts to this is during the initial chase. It cuts to yours truly, Jamie Foxx, and he has so many random blueprints for no reason. Like
He really
they
does.
set it up why he has them later, but it's realistically you would have those in a bag or whatever. You're not just carrying that many blueprints. But so Jamie Foxx is getting hit by every single person on the sidewalk. Tries to set up his character. He's super weird, creepy looking. And he's supposed to be like the Invisible Man. No one really sees him. That's just New York.
Right.
So he gets knocked over by this guy, loses all of his blueprints. They go to the middle of the road. He goes to get them. Spider-Man swoops in and saves him. And he's like, "Hey, I need you, like whatever." And then
You're my eyes
you're
and
my
ears.
eyes and ears in the city.
Eyes and ears.
And
right.
Jamie Foxx, like his character breaks, and he's like, "You see me?" Like, and then he becomes
Right.
really obsessive over Spider-Man, very similar to Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, where he
Yeah.
loves
I actually
Batman and
I really love that. I think that Jamie Foxx before he becomes Electro is like super sweet, and I really
Oh,
like his
no.
character.
he is arguably my least favorite part of the movie.
Really.
It is a
He makes
That's a
me
hot
very.
it is a waste
like, he
of
just-
Jamie Foxx, in my opinion.
See, I think he's just very giddy and happy, which makes me feel giddy and happy as well, just for him. And I know he's like kind of crazy, but I just am like happy for him when he's happy.
So
That's my
I
job.
I see where you're going with that, and it would be totally fine if they made Max Dillon, Jamie Foxx's character, like a sympathetic character. Like if you made us feel bad for him, I would totally fall. Like I would be like, yeah, okay, that's great.
I felt bad for him.
I felt
did,
bad
so-
for him up until the elevator scene with him and Gwen Stacy. And he just flat out lies to her for no reason because he wants to act cool. I feel like someone in his position, he wants to try and make friends. I get it would be like he's just trying to make himself sound cooler. And maybe he doesn't pick up
Well, I
certain
don't-
social cues. But if he...
I don't think that.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's him. Like, I don't think that's him lying. I mean, he was saying that he has a party and he would invite her, but he doesn't have a party to invite her to. So like, he can't just.
Yeah.
He's either way. He's lying. You
Yeah,
know.
he's making up this
I
fantasy.
mean, he's clearly like
right.
I mean, I honestly feel like I find actually one of my I guess a point where we would disagree is I find that I was actually really compelled by a lot of Jamie Foxx's stuff before he became Electro, and I did
Mhm.
I felt bad for him. I mean, I know it's like dumb, but also like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he has that one scene with the actor from The Office, the
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know
BJ
you know what I'm
Novak.
talking about, like BJ Novak, and like um who was like really mean to him. But like, I mean, it's clearly he's just like kind of getting bullied by people, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
I sympathize with this character for sure.
Yeah. No, I
Like, what
definitely I
about you?
feel
How do you feel about Jamie
sympathy.
Foxx?
Um, Honestly, I'm kind of with Cam on
Hmm.
this one. I don't know. I
Yeah,
just maybe there wasn't like enough time with him like before,
it was quick.
I don't
Yeah,
Yeah.
know.
It was quick.
Yeah, that
I
was one of
agree.
those things where yeah, maybe they could have lengthened that out to be a little bit more
Yeah.
sympathetic and empathetic for that
Mm.
character,
Right.
but I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
yeah.
That's fair.
We'd actually
All right. Well, moving on to the
we
next
actually
next
we had
part.
missed
Yeah.
a scene. I had skipped a scene. There's
What part did we skip?
there's the graduation scene.
That's after the thing.
So it's the Max scene where he not gets knocked over. That's during
Yeah.
the first scene. And then
Yeah.
the elevator scene is after graduation and then family dinner night.
Oh yeah, I thought you were just referencing that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
moving on
just
though
referencing that.
then to
So it's
the
graduation.
yeah, to the graduation. I thought the speech was pretty enticing at the beginning, but I mean, I'll talk about it more at the end, but I love the speech at the beginning a lot more at the end. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. There were way too many 30-year-olds graduating high school. Was my only
I don't like that it's a
They were-
33-year-old actor
I think
playing an
yeah,
18-year-old. It's not
Well,
good.
all of them.
Yeah.
they look
the
they
entire
look too
crowd
old.
was.
They look too old.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
not a
mean-
whole lot to say about this scene, I don't think, really.
No. There's the Stanley cameo.
Andrew Garfield. There's a Stanley cameo.
There
Peter
is,
Parker
yeah.
walks up on stage and like dips Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of
I don't
cute.
know.
I like the two of them a lot. I like Emma Stone.
I like the chemistry. I think they set it up
Yeah.
pretty well in the first movie. So it's
Yeah.
believable,
Oh.
you know.
It definitely is.
And then after this is the dinner scene where
Yeah.
and it's really cool because it brings up this recurring thing that happens for a lot of the movie. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is spoilers for the first Amazing Spider-Man. At the end of
And spoilers for
well,
the
and,
second.
and
And
this
this
one, I
one,
guess,
it's-
but it is like,
we already
what
said-
is it?
yeah,
7 years
it's
old.
whatever. At the end of the Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy's father was actually a police commissioner. He had died at the hands of the Lizard. He was the big baddie of the first movie, and he had
Which is Norman Osborn, yeah.
Kurt Connors.
No.
Norman Osborn.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's Kurt Connors.
Okay, I haven't
Norman Osborn's
seen it,
nothing
so
to do
I
with it.
No,
just
it's not.
assumed from the context of this film, I
Is
assumed
it?
it was Norman Osborn.
Yeah,
Unless I'm wrong. I thought it was Kurt Connors.
it's not. You're not. You're
Okay,
right. You're
yeah.
right. It's not. It's Kurt
Yeah.
Connors.
I was gonna say,
I haven't seen it
because then
so
that's
I-
a huge diversion from the comics, but whatever. So
Yeah.
throughout this movie, actually, I should probably finish. So Gwen Stacy's dad dies at the end of the first movie. He has this really like emotional scene with Peter, and he's like, "I want you to keep Gwen Stacy out of this. Like, I don't want her involved in your life as Spider-Man. Like, you got to keep her safe." And the one thing I actually really appreciate going into this movie is they brought that through, and Peter is really
Yeah.
affected by it the entire movie. At the end of the graduation
He
scene,
definitely is.
he sees their family, the whole family, and I think
Yeah.
at that point he sees like a vision of her father. And so like he starts to feel a little hesitant about going to dinner with them for whatever reason. So we cut to the dinner scene,
Mhm.
and he's being like super weird. He's like stalking outside of the restaurant. So then she goes out, confronts him, and I will credit Andrew Garfield. He had incredible acting in the scene. Very emotional.
Yeah.
like he understood his past actions, like what he did was wrong. He blames himself for her father's death. And then
Right.
I was just curious on your guys' thoughts on that scene.
So that scene I like overall, but I have a piece of dialogue written down from that scene, which is, quote, you know what that makes me? It makes me not able to live with myself, which I thought was the weirdest way to phrase something just ever. There was a lot in this scene in particular of dialogue that just like felt like improper English. Like I was listening and I was like, there's no way that's the way you're supposed to say something like that, which caught me off guard.
Yeah, no, I agree,
Yeah.
but it's masked by their chemistry, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
They have really good chemistry. Let's just, you know,
Yeah.
we can go scene by scene, but let's just, before we do that, let's hit some big things. How do we feel about Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker?
I hate
as
it.
He's
a
got
character?
great
I
hair.
hate his interpretation of Peter Parker.
He's got great hair.
He's got great hair.
Whoa. All right, Cameron coming out strong, saying he hates it. Blake, how do you feel about Andrew Garfield?
I'm indifferent.
You're
he
indifferent?
does a good job,
Yeah.
and I didn't see him in anything else, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Andrew Garfield. Huge Andrew Garfield fan. Think he does a great job. Big supporter of him in this movie. Cameron, I guess we're just gonna have to fight to the death now.
Yeah.
So
My personal opinion is that Tom Holland does the best job being Peter Parker, but Andrew Garfield is like a great Spider-Man, and he's got gray hair. So
he's got great hair. How can you be mad at him when his hair is so cool?
it's so good.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's great
my-
acting.
Yeah, you think like
He is a great
my
actor.
hair in 2014 versus Andrew Garfield's hair in 2014 is significantly different. My hair is more like Harry Osborn's hair in 2014.
True.
Oh my
We had very
God,
similar
Harry
Don't even
haircuts,
be started on Harry
and
Osborn.
I need your
we'll get there
blood.
when we get there. But good God, I wanted to bully him.
So
All right. But here's Cameron. Let me hit you with let me hit everybody with
All right.
something. Here's where I'm coming from. I kinda don't give a shit about the comics. So I kind of feel like I really enjoy the kind of fresh interpretation of the character in the Amazing Spider-Man movies because, you know, Peter Parker's less of kind of like a science geek and he's kind of like a cool hipster, like cool, handsome,
Right.
good hair guy. But
He
I
is
really
very handsome.
He is.
yeah, he's a good-looking man. He is a good-looking man.
He really is.
But I also just feel like, you know, I don't really need to see the same interpretation of the character over and over again. I like that they tried something different, and I just think it generally worked pretty okay. And I think like with the Gwen Stacy thing, and also with like the whole Harry Osborn dilemma, I think they gave Andrew Garfield like I related to him just in that like I feel like his character had a lot of character development in this movie that I thought was actually good. He was one of the few characters in this movie that had actual character development. I felt like
Yeah. Yeah.
The reasoning
You know?
why I strongly dislike the interpretation, part of it is, you know, I'm a huge comics guy. I love seeing, and it's totally fine if movies want to have like a different interpretation of the character. That's totally fine. But if it's so far off the original source material, that's when I start getting upset. Prime example, the start of this movie, his parents never worked for Oscorp. They were spies for like the government. They never worked for Oscorp.
yeah, but
Peter Parker is
Right.
a genius.
Yeah.
That is
Whatever.
established in the comics, like his first issue. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is a dumbass. All right? Because there's no way
Right.
there is
hey.
no way Spider-Man is looking up a YouTube video on how batteries would work and then not figure out the solution to his problem with
Yeah,
Electro.
did you guys like that?
Because in most of those
He's watching,
he's
like,
watching some
a
shitty
Bill
YouTube
Nye.
video that has 145 views. That's like
Right.
a minute long on how
yeah.
batteries work. Spider-Man knows how batteries
Right.
work.
And he doesn't even figure
If
it out.
any other movie they have a montage like that, they figure out the problem. Iron Man, for example.
Right. That happens a lot, actually, in this movie, where there's a lot of montages and he just doesn't figure out what's
like
happening.
an Iron Man,
with his
he's kind of an
parents.
like
idiot.
in Iron Man when he does the suit up for the first time and it keeps failing. You see him fix it, and then eventually it's the payoff. He fixes the suit; it works perfectly. But Spider-Man never figures it out. He figures it out at the end of the movie because Gwen Stacy tells him.
And
Gwen
Gwen
Stacy does it.
Yeah.
But
She's
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
remember 8th grade science class? I'm like, thank God for 8th grade science class, saving the day.
And then they just
saving New York City.
And then that whole thing that was built up the entire movie, they solve it. They solve it in like
hero.
30 seconds. Get the jumper cable.
Yeah. I mean, how do you guys feel about, like, all right, so like Gwen Stacy in this movie, like how are you guys feeling about her as a character? Like I don't know, I guess I just kind of feel like she really doesn't have a ton to do besides have cute scenes with Andrew Garfield.
Right. I feel like as soon as she said, I'm going to England, and there was the scene where Andrew Garfield was like, all right, I'm going with you, she was dead, you know? Like, I had never seen the movie before.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew she was not going to live because they wouldn't do that, so she felt like more of a blank. Like, I definitely cared about their relationship, but I knew it was going to end, which is kind of gives it a different tone to it. So that was my take, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Blake, having not seen it, did you know that Gwen Stacy was going to die at the end?
Oh no, I had no idea. And also,
You had no idea?
I'm dumb and things go over my head. So when that happened, I was like, that's really unfortunate.
Were you emotionally devastated, Blake, like I was when I saw that movie?
Well,
it's kind of brutal too.
I'm just, it really brutal, and I'm
really
an
is.
emotional person, and seeing that, it was.
You know what's really
that
brutal
was
is the fact that
something.
Spider-Man's the one that killed her.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
not really.
but
I mean, he just kind of
because
failed to
because
save
he
her.
caught her. I mean, she would have died regardless, but because
What do you mean? She would have died.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But when he caught
Yeah.
her, that caused her to die. He could have, like, if she had hit the
Right.
ground,
Kinda,
if
sorta. I think
if she had
more
hit the
failed to
ground
save her.
before the web had got to her, he can't really blame himself for her death. But because he
Right.
caught her
Yeah, he
and
can.
then her neck snapped, spoilers, then he has to blame himself.
A little bit of whiplash.
Yeah.
Got to do whiplash.
I mean, no, I think he would have blamed himself for Gwen Stacy's death, regardless of whether he was actively involved or not, just because like she was there, like at the whatever giant
The bell
power grid
tower
thing.
that's at the
But I mean,
power grid. Yeah.
isn't it just so sad when he shoots the web and it makes a little hand?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Now,
yeah.
the visuals,
I love that scene.
the emotions.
Super difficult as a comic book fan knowing that the Green Goblin kills her and Spider-Man does it's the same thing. That's where like they did a good job of like building up like the tension of like Blake, you had said that you didn't know she was going to die. I'm happy that there are people that think that. Because I'm so familiar with the comics, I knew she was going to die. But like I thought they did a decent job of like kind of like dancing around it.
Since we're talking about that scene, I really love. I mentioned earlier the opening speech, her speech at graduation. About time, right, and how there's only so much time. And then I was sitting there watching her die, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's dying in a clock."
Wait,
I was like,
what?
Yeah,
she dies in a clock.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It all makes
there's
sense
the random
now.
bell tower,
right? And that's
kidding?
why her.
You're kidding,
right.
Dude,
You're kidding.
I literally, I've seen this movie like probably 7 times.
That's so funny. Yeah, you didn't know.
I never put that together.
Zach,
that's actually kind of dumb.
my
Why did you have to ask, like, I don't care that she died in a clock.
but it's
so
the
funny.
time. It's the
That's
time
so
motif, which I think is the movie's strongest thing. Is the motif.
Right. And that she's dying and she's falling with the gears around her. I thought that was very strong emotionally. I thought that was a good story beat.
Yeah, I picked up on that too. As a
Oh my God!
As a first time watcher.
You're so
and
much
also
smarter
dumb
than me.
That's so funny.
All right, but okay. Here's my beef with the speech. Is I feel like like at the speeches it works because it comes back later, but at the beginning of the movie, I was rewatching it and I was like, oh my god, like Gwen's totally gonna die. I mean, the speech is literally just like, and we have to use all of our time we're given, like with every second. Because you never know when it's going to be taken from you. I was like, come on,
Right.
Gwen.
And they set that up
Bro.
actually with
You're the
with
reason.
Peter's dad at the beginning of the movie. He's like, I wish I had more time. Like and then it cuts out, and then it's the watch, because it's whoever has the watch,
The
and I'm like,
yeah.
I get it.
That's actually
It's like
sick.
it's one of my favorite parts
into
about the movie. It's also one of my least favorite parts about the movie is the whole time motif.
Yeah, they do kind of. You know what actually kind of upset me is when they repeated her speech at the end to tie it back. I thought, like, I was sitting there and I was like, you didn't need to do this again. I understood what was happening.
Peter.
It was for Zach,
No,
I guess.
because Peter never saw the.
Yeah,
Peter never saw the speech.
Oh my god! She
Yeah,
should have
no,
been just
I
like,
know.
Yeah, he was only
guys,
watching it 'cause
you
he
never
missed it.
know when one day he's like senior class.
I'm gonna die.
Senior class of 2014. You never know when you're gonna die in a giant
That's
clock.
right.
Then
From,
I think I
from
would
the
have
Green
got it.
Goblin.
from Harry Osborn.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you didn't know that. I just
I
kind
had
of
no idea.
It's so funny. I'm gonna kind of cycle us back to where we were story beat wise, to the relationship of Aunt May and Peter Parker, which is, I think, one of the strongest relationships, because, again, I haven't seen the first one, and I genuinely cared about them a whole lot. I thought like the stuff that he was saying to Aunt May was like very, very real. And like the little jokes he was making were genuinely funny. Like I mentioned, the cold bit was funny, and like Aunt May is like, he's not paying you a fair wage, and he goes, he is paying me a fair wage. If it was 1961, he pays me a fair wage. I thought that was so funny.
That was a good little bit.
And like he's so New York, and their relationship is so real. I really like that.
Trying to do his own laundry, and then she's like, "No, I do your laundry. I've done your laundry since you were 7 years old." It's like, oh, cute.
Yeah, I really like that. I like their relationship a lot.
And then
that was good.
Sorry.
The chimney joke.
That was so good.
We don't have a chimney.
Funny.
Oh my god, when he was like,
He's like,
funny.
I'm very
Yeah,
naked
right?
under this blanket. I'm very naked.
Yeah.
Here's ready. Here's a. I feel like if I were Aunt May, I would 100,000,000% know that my kid was Spider-Man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
How do you hide that?
To see.
How do you cover
like,
that up? She probably does.
I get like. I don't really remember the Sam Raimi trilogy that well, of how well he hides it from Aunt May. It'd be different because he lives in his own apartment. But and it makes sense in the Tom Holland ones, because at the end of the first movie she finds out. But if they hadn't had that in that movie, in the Tom Holland movie, it makes zero sense. They wouldn't have found out that they're Spider-Man. Like each respective actor.
Yeah. Each one.
Yeah.
There's one line that she says about, I guess there's a part that everybody hides.
Yeah, and she looks at him
from,
like she knows that it's him.
Well, I think she does. I think that's what she's saying there.
Okay.
That was my interpretation, at least.
She may or may not. I mean, the movie doesn't really give us a clear answer as to that.
Which is fine. I don't think there needs to be a clear answer.
Yeah. And another thing with Aunt May is I think that they did a really good job of, like, I can't remember other Aunt May characters, but like I feel like they did address the fact that like she's been through a lot, because not only like Uncle Ben like dies, like obviously, but then like the parents left Peter, and then it's just like, and she's having to work she starts working at the hospital to like pay for his college, and it's like kind of overwhelming for her. I was like, that's
I like how they tied that in.
She had a better character.
That they actually show her at the college at the end.
Towards the end.
However, I hated how she had to be like, when the power turned on, she was like, "All right, yeah." I hated that. That was so unnecessary.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm like, shut up.
Forced,
people are dying in that hospital. They are dying in that hospital.
Yo, take it easy. Take it easy on Aunt May.
Dude, I'm just mad that she's not as hot as the one in the Tom Holland ones. That's all it is.
Well, boy,
Okay.
oh boy, is there a hot mom in this movie? That's at the end, though.
That's true.
So right after this,
Oh my God.
this is when Max gets his powers. How do we feel about that
I
scene?
like it
overall?
better than how
Hold
we
on,
got
hold on.
his,
Can I do my
sure,
Electro song?
Go ahead.
Yo, I'm Electro.
We said
All
this
right,
wasn't
that's
allowed.
I'm cutting this out of the
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, cut it.
No, you're not gonna cut
So,
it. You're gonna make it the intro to the podcast.
so there are a couple issues with the scene. Number one, so he radios the guy to shut off the power, and the guy's like, "No," and then he shuts off his radio.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
That was
he then
wild.
go and shut off the power himself?
That's a good
And
point.
whatever that he and then he
Well, see, okay, but
Well,
here's my
he
thing.
might
though.
have just yeah. Go ahead.
Here's why I kind of feel bad for Jamie Foxx's character. It's because like literally everybody like he literally designed the like power grid system that's like this big
Right.
huge deal, and no one gives a shit. No one cares, and he's like it's just like I and then the reason he becomes Electro is because no one cares about him. Like they just don't give it. They don't care about
but
his
he
humanity. So,
totally
like,
could have shut off the power.
that's why I kind of.
like I get
Yeah.
what you're
Well,
saying, but
and
yeah,
I
he
think-
totally could have shut off the power.
No, I know, but I think that we all take shortcuts
Yeah.
doing things. I'm sure he
Yeah,
was just
he
doing
wanted
that,
to go
you
home,
know.
eat it.
But I
It
do
was
see
also
what
his
you're saying.
birthday.
Eat the
It was his birthday, and he was trying to get
Yeah, he
out
wants
of there.
to eat the birthday cake
Yeah,
that
true.
quote unquote Spider-Man got him, which is just that's a weird
Yeah.
scene.
I
That's a weird scene.
Well, no, I think that's cute. I really do. I really think that makes me empathize with him because he very clearly does not have anybody else, and the one compliment he has ever gotten, he's holding, you know,
Yeah.
and I understand
So
that, you know.
yeah,
I think
when
that
he's
that
like,
really
yeah,
shows.
you like that Spider-Man? Yeah, you like that? Yeah, I like it. I like it, man.
Well, I don't think it's that.
No, but
context.
that, but
I don't
but
think
that's,
I don't know if
but
they were
that's how
going
he
for
says
that.
it, and it's weird. I get what they're trying to say, but that's how he says it, and it comes across as really weird. However,
Yeah, that might have been
I
a
All right,
will-
guys,
delivery
can
problem.
we talk about the single greatest part of this movie, which happens in this scene? So
What's
Jamie
that?
Foxx falls in to the thing of electric eels,
Yep.
right? Which, by the way, I was laughing out loud during the scene. I thought it was
It's
kind
fun-
of
it's funny.
ridiculously
It's
over
funny.
the top. But he's getting shocked around, and so Jamie Foxx has like a space in between his
And then it
teeth,
closes-
and he's
yep.
getting shocked by the eels, and then it fixes his teeth.
It's so funny.
And I was
Like, what the hell is that?
Like, why? Like, why would you? Why is that in the movie? That makes what does that
It's-
add to anything at all?
it's weird.
Right.
I will say, however,
And then he's like, "Yo, I'm Electro."
So-
I'm just gonna do it
so
enough times
I
so that
will
Edison
point out,
can't cut it out.
this is actually
Keep cutting it.
this is how you change. This is how you leave the source material in a good way, right? I prefer, even though it's not as it's whatever. It's a stupid like origin for his powers. I like Jamie Foxx Electro origin more than his origin in the comics. Because in the comics, he's working on a telephone pole and he gets struck by lightning, and then he gets his powers. Even though they don't explain these
Wow.
genetic freaks of electric eels that somehow power a whole building, whatever, I prefer
Yeah.
that because they're going with the whole like animal theme, like how most of them are getting their powers. I thought it was kind of on
Mhm.
theme. I liked it. I will say I like the interpretation of Electro, even though it's like they're inconsistent with, like, especially towards the end, when he can like turn intangible. Spider-Man shouldn't be hitting him at all, just at all.
Right, because
Yeah.
how could he?
Um,
Yeah, right, and he
do
gets
you
hit
guys
by
want
a
me to sing
car.
the song again?
nope.
No.
So then we're
Are you sure?
introduced to Norman. Harry,
Yeah,
Harry.
Harry. Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah,
Well,
Harry,
and
Harry
Norman,
and
I
Norman.
guess technically, but
It's a fine scene.
so
All right. Here's
Yeah, it's
my
fine.
beef. I got some beef.
I hate him.
I
hate him.
think this has to do with Harry Osborn, but really it's about the movie in general. Here's
Mhm.
what I think you got to do to make this movie Peepo Pog.
Yeah.
I think you got to cut Harry and Norman Osborn out of the movie, and then take that time and give it to Jamie Foxx, and make Jamie Foxx a way more fleshed out and better villain, and then have that be the movie. Because I feel like or you could introduce Harry as a character and have him be Peter's friend, but I especially feel like him becoming the Green Goblin is so rushed and unnecessary.
I
And
agree.
Well, right, and that absolutely could have been the third one, right? Because they were
Yeah,
planning on
Andrew
making three.
because
Why
then-
not?
just
be the third one?
introduce Harry as a character, and then have him be the Green Goblin in the third one, and then just take the time and spend more time with Jamie Foxx, because Jamie Foxx really like doesn't have a
it
ton
was
of stuff.
a waste of
No,
an
he
actor.
absolutely does not.
I think by
Um,
adding in Harry Osborn, it starts to suffer the same way that the original Spider-Man 3 did, where you put in too many villains into one movie.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it was a little crowded.
Also, his skinny
And
tie
It
looks
did.
dumb.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I like that
don't-
actor though.
Yeah, he's okay. Not my favorite. I didn't like him, but I know you're not
Yeah.
supposed to. But I didn't
I think
like
if
him.
you're
He's got that
so,
deep voice,
That's right.
Peter.
Yeah, he really does.
Oh, it's so exhausting doing the whole model thing.
I know.
I need your blood.
I
know?
know.
I
It's
think-
so weird. I don't know. So after this part, we move on to like I guess it's the second Emma Stone scene. This scene, I genuinely was like a little uncomfortable with it, because he was like talking about stalking her. and
Yeah,
she was like, "That's
she
cute."
was
And I like,
totally
"Is it?"
okay with him admitting, how many times? Once a day? Sometimes more? That's just weird.
more.
And she's like, aw,
Like, if-
thank you.
Yeah, I don't think if I went up to Zach, if I said to you, "Hey, I've been watching you once a day or more," would you be comfortable with that? You know,
Yeah, it's a little
It's weird.
excessive.
it is. Like I know what they were going for, but it was a little uncomfortable.
So,
I don't know.
How'd you feel about Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's kind of
Yeah,
cutesy
well, they're-
love scenes?
Well, yeah, obviously, the awkwardness was hella tangible. Like, you could feel it.
Yeah.
But,
Mhm.
again, yeah, as I said before, yeah, just the chemistry kind of. I mean, obviously, it's not great, but it, masks some imperfections.
Yeah,
I mean, it is it's kind of, I mean, obviously the part where he's like, yeah, I kind of follow you around all the time is kind of weird, but I feel like the first part of that scene is kind of charming and cute. I mean, it's
I
they're
agree.
telling each other
Yeah.
little things they can't do anymore.
yeah.
It's
There definitely
aw.
is a lot of charm, even through the stalking part. Like, there's charm in there. It was a little weird.
It's charming stalking, you know?
yeah, so that makes it
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
So, after
Okay.
and
after this
right-
scene,
Well, right after this scene is where I took a dinner break and realized that there was still an hour and a half left of movie. I thought we were
Yikes.
nearing the end. There was still more than what I had already
So
watched.
I had taken a note when Spider-Man shows up. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, directly after this scene, it's when Electro is shown leaving Oscorp, and what they show about him is he feeds off of energy. So when he left Oscorp and walked into New York City, he saw all these power lines full of electricity all meeting in this one central spot. That's where he's going. So he gets there and he starts doing whatever, and the police show up. Peter has Superman hearing and can hear it. So he goes there, and
Oh, well, I think
but-
it was a spider
so-
sense. I was actually going to say, because that's the first time we see the spider sense thing. That's what was that's what I thought was
I could
happening.
see why people would think that. I would argue it's not, because it's not clear and present danger to him. It's different in, I would say,
Is that-
because that's it's more like
Yeah.
a sixth sense for Peter, where it just kind of basically
Right.
warns him of incoming danger. He can choose not to do anything about it. It's different you see in Infinity War, where he's on the bus and then his arm hair raises and then he looks up and the ship is right there. So it's more clear and present
Right.
danger. But regardless, Spider-Man finally suits up, and I had taken a note. Spider-Man doesn't do anything Spider-Man related past the first scene until 54 minutes into an almost 2.5 hour long movie. I don't watch Batman movies for Bruce Wayne. I watch it for Batman. In the other Spider-Man movies, the story is interesting enough that I enjoy the movie in its entirety. Also, those movies aren't 2.5 hours long, which is an hour longer than this movie should have been.
Yeah. I think the one thing about it is that Peter Parker as a character is more interesting than Bruce Wayne as a character. However,
yeah,
I think you're absolutely right about there not being enough
like if you
Spider-Man
watch
in this.
like the Dark Knight or whatever, right? It's almost every other scene he's doing something Batman related. And I get like they're two different characters, but in essence, it's a superhero movie. The titular superhero should be doing something here. He should do some type of heroing throughout a majority of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being
I feel
that
like
being
I mean
said, go ahead, Zach.
like he was only Spider-Man for like I want to say he was only Spider-Man for like 3 or 4 scenes.
Very few
in the entire movie.
That sounds
and it's
right,
fine because the scenes he was in,
like,
he looked
it's
fine. Like
limited.
the suit was cool. Yeah.
Right. He did a good job. Yeah, exactly. That being said, this scene with him and Electro the first time is a really good scene.
Like how Jamie Foxx looks. I'll put that out there.
Yeah, the standoff between them at the beginning is very interesting because Jamie Foxx is very clearly like, what is happening? And then Spider-Man's talking him down, and then he gets shot at, and then the whole attention grab thing. Well, he's like, you're stealing all the attention, because he finally has that attention. I think that's a good character beat. And then I think the action scene looks great in this scene. Like when they flip
so visually pleasing.
It really is. Like
very
when they
pretty.
flip the car.
So, it's very pretty.
There's
awesome. I really think it's very cool.
a few issues with the scene that I have. First is, I think they would know after, like they're shooting him, right? They shoot Electro. I feel like they would gather that bullets don't work. So why is there a sniper? I get the mentality that we just need a stronger gun than a pistol or whatever. Like, you also Spider-Man is there and he's taking care of it.
Right.
I mean, I generally feel like I think it's a good like plot device to have like Jamie Foxx feel like it works like with like Jamie Foxx feeling like Spider-Man betrays him, you know, because it's like he kind of, like Spider-Man is like being nice to him, and then like the guy starts shooting, and it's like that kind of like feeds his character, because then he starts just going off the rails. And like I kind of liked how he was just like a confused, scared guy who like didn't want what was happening to him to be happening to him, and then he kind of like he kind of just, you know, went crazy. But I agree with like Blake, you were saying how pretty this scene was. It was a really gorgeous scene. And then like they do the thing where like Electro's like shocking the bars, and then it's like slow motion, and then he like shoots the web and like pulls the people's hands away from the bars to get not shot.
Yeah. He's stopping time. Cool. He's stopping time.
Yeah.
It's
like
that's right. Because he's thinking. I guess he's reacting faster. But it's cool. It's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Now
it is a cool scene.
You guys want to know something funny about that scene?
What's that?
So Gwen Stacy is okay. First off, here's another thing. Like, so you have Spider-Man and this giant unstable electric boom boom guy, and then there's like crowds of people watching. It's basically Sparky Sparky Boom Man. There's crowds of people watching and like cheering him on, and I feel like if that was like what are you guys doing? You're gonna get killed.
I know.
Run!
Well,
Run!
I thought the same
They're
thing
like,
at the end with Rhino.
Spider-Man!
I was like, what's happening?
Spider-Man, you got this.
Spider-Man, get my bagel. I lost my bagel with cream cheese.
Because I feel like in one of the
New York.
I want to say one of the original Spider-Man movies, there's a similar scene. I feel like it's something like where Mary Jane was like inside of a taxi cab and it's like hanging off of a like a bridge. I think there's some scene around that where like all the New Yorkers are like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And it's like something stupid like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's
I've
from
seen
Spider-Man,
that.
but it made me think of that.
Yep.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
dumb.
it's
dumb.
It's just kind of dumb. But the thing that I wanted to point out that was like I just thought was kind of amusing was Gwen Stacy is at the front of the group of people, and she's really tightly grabbing on to a metal barrier. And I was like, aren't you supposed to be like a science like genius?
Yeah.
And she's like,
Right.
there's like a giant electric guy, and she's like holding on to this metal pole. Like,
Also,
there's a lot of
realistically,
that.
she's not getting
It's so
Yeah.
to that fight as fast as the movie thinks that she is. Because when they establish that scene before he leaves, they're on like a different side of the river, and there's the bridge that they have to cross to get to the other city, the other borough or whatever. Yeah,
it's whatever. Suspension
Yeah.
of disbelief.
And
We'll buy it.
also, the fact that the barriers are even there, like it seems like a planned attack.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
no.
exactly. It's like they were like, it's like we're gonna have a show. You guys want to come watch?
I know.
Like-
it's like a
concept.
cage
There's
fight.
no way
I know
that
what
they're
you
just
mean.
like,
Yeah, really,
we're
though.
gonna put up these barriers. This is our when as soon as the police get there, we put up the barriers, right? No, you're getting people out of there.
It's a light show. It's a light show.
Hey,
Yeah.
yo, Spider-Man, make sure they're made of metal so we can all get shocked.
So skipping ahead because
that was funny.
it's a long movie. We get to this scene where Gwen Stacy finds out Oscorp has like erased Max Dillon's file. They're trying to like bury his incident. So there's this really stupid scene where she's like trying to escape from security, and then Peter's there because Harry wants Spider-Man's blood. It's the other side quest of the movie. And then they get into this stupid closet. All right? Now,
They were so loud. They were
scene,
so
I
loud
actually wrote it
in that
down. I
closet.
said, fuck this movie. This stupid closet scene is the breaking point for me. I hated that scene.
They were so loud. I was like, they're gonna
hated that
see
scene.
you.
Guys,
Shut up.
I
Shut
love
up.
it. I think it's charming. Listen, all of the Andrew Garfield Emma Stone stuff, besides the fact that he like is like stalking her, which is like really creepy. But like besides that, I think I really enjoy watching them play off each other. I think it's funny. I think it adds to the development of their relationship, which pays off obviously later at the end of the movie. And I also I enjoy watching Andrew Garfield like. Because obviously those security guys come and he like
Now
spills coffee
that
on him
scene
and, like,
is fine.
pulls
That's
down one
fine.
of
I'm
their
talking
pants and,
specifically
like-
about when they're stuck in the closet together. That bothers me.
I loved it. Blake, what'd you think? I loved it.
All I know is
Yeah,
I don't agree with
that's
Zach.
fair.
So.
No, Blake, you're supposed to be on my side.
I'm sorry.
All right, so after that scene, trying to get through the rest of these scenes as fast as possible, there's this torture scene where the evil doctor is obviously German. They're shocking Electro, and then they bathe him in water, and that like he doesn't drown. Whatever.
Well, can I just say though that like it's okay, so maybe I'm basing my logic of how stuff in the world works on Pokemon, but like when they keep trying to douse Electro in water, that kind of like doesn't that make no sense because doesn't like electricity
Yeah.
isn't that good?
No,
in
but it's
water?
they
Well,
had
it actually depends
specified
on the water.
Am I just
they
a
had
Pokemon
specified that it's
master?
like saline.
Well, if it's completely pure water, yeah, because if it's completely pure
Oh,
water,
okay.
electricity can't travel through water. But if there's things in the water,
There
that's
was
when it
some
travels.
there's some scene
I
where they're
understand.
like
I understand.
increase saline levels to this. Like it's like directly after that. They mention
actually
like
thought
what's in
about
the
this.
water.
I understand.
There's this
Cool.
really touching scene between Peter and Aunt May where Aunt May like she's in Peter's room and she sees like his weird like connection map, which I never understood because how do they know how things are connected? Like how do you make that clear? So you have
What do you mean?
he
I
has
have no
a
idea.
You guys are telling me that you didn't like the scene where Andrew Garfield is feeling kind of sad, and he puts on Home by Phil Phillips.
That was so funny. I was laughing out
story-
loud at that,
and
and not in a good
storyboards
way.
and storyboards his entire
what I-
life on his wall.
What
I thought
I'm
that was the
saying
best
is,
scene in
I
the
don't
movie.
understand. It's like if you have a picture of your family, right? And he puts a thumbtack in it, and he takes the tape or
Yep.
whatever, and he connects it to this random article that doesn't even talk about his family. Like, as an audience, I can see, like, I know why they do it in movies and TV shows or whatever, but I always feel like at some point, if they ever go back and they're like, wait, how is any of this connected? Like, they just forget, because there's no, like, if they had, if they had put, like, a little
No
tag
idea.
on the arrow, and it's like, this is connected because of this. Obviously, they wouldn't do that,
Well,
but I just didn't get
I mean,
it.
obviously, there is some sort of mystery regarding Peter's dad and Oscorp and him
Yeah.
being Spider-Man. Like, I mean, there's like that's like I think the purpose of that like is just to kind of build up to the fact that like Peter Parker like is clearly thinking about this a lot, and then it also I mean it pays off in the fact that I can't believe this. He throws the calculator against the wall, and then tokens come out, and then he goes and he finds his dad's underground subway
And everything
laboratory.
still works. There's still power there.
And everything is perfectly in there with a perfectly recorded video
computer-
that's like
The
Right.
computer
That
looked
just-
like it was
just
in like
then
sleep
finished
mode.
uploading.
He just shook the mouse and then everything's on. Everything is
It
on
really-
now.
Right.
And then his dad's like, it can only
So
work with my
God damn, that was
bloodline.
funny.
Which is it's fine in the context
Yep.
of the movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm not like I'm totally fine with it. Whatever. Like in the comics, everyone knows he gets bitten by a spider, he gets his powers. Even though it actually goes a lot deeper than that, but it gets really confusing. So we're not going to go into that.
Right.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff like
it's
that.
it's
you can't really
regardless.
put in a movie,
Yeah.
You know, because it's for a
That
much
stuff
more
is too
general
specific
audience.
because it's like he gets his power. He was chosen by a spider god. It's whatever.
I mean, just here's the bottom.
That's
Thank
right.
goodness he threw that.
Because he never would have
calculator
found
against
it. Even
Right?
if he shook
Right.
the calculator at all, he
just
totally
kind
would
of
have heard the
figured out-
tokens in it.
the wall. He solved all of his
It's
problems.
also a lot of tokens. Let's be real. After that,
Yeah.
there's a
I don't know, just in
dumb
case he wants to go
scene
multiple
with
times, I
Harry
guess.
saying and Peter's like he's my best
just-
pal. Like, no, he's not. You met him today. You've had 10 minutes of screen time maybe with him.
Basically,
Not
right.
true.
If they had set him up in the first movie, I would have been fine with it. Or if they set him up in this movie, and if Andrew Garfield didn't say whatever to the production staff that made them fire him, and they had to cancel the third movie, have him in the third movie, that's fine. But don't set him up and have him be the villain in this movie. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Well, I totally agree that the Harry Osborn stuff is just rushed because they clearly just wanted to get him to be Green Goblin by the end, which is I think that's a mistake. I think the movie could have benefited so much from them just introducing the character and having him be there.
Yeah.
But you know what else is kind of really stupid about the Harry Osborn thing is
What's
that
that?
so his dad Norman Osborn has the same like disease or whatever, but his dad Norman Osborn still lived until he was like 60 plus probably, and then here's this like 20-year-old guy who's like, I'm dying and I'm dying.
Right.
I'm dying. I'm gonna die tomorrow and I need your blood. I'm like, dude, no. Like
Yeah.
Peter's whole point was that like, whoa, this stuff is dangerous, like maybe we should just like I don't know, take some time and research it. And it's like,
Well,
it's not like he doesn't have the time. Like, how does
They
he know
don't.
that he's
I
going to
think
die tomorrow?
I totally agree. Do they specify when his dad injected himself with it? Because it's not because he wasn't Harry's age
I don't
when he
think
did
they
I
it.
don't think so.
I think he was. I thought it was
I
like.
assume not. No.
Yeah, it's weird.
Regardless, it's muddy. It's
At
muddy,
least
for
I
sure.
would say at
Muddy.
least 10 years. The very least 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's whatever.
Yeah. So that
but
doesn't
then
really make sense.
Then they do the whole thing where the evil Oscorp guy, like I wrote down in my notes like there's just some like dumb side characters. Like there's like a random the like randomly over the top like
Yep.
evil scientist guy, and then the
Mhm.
like one board member at Oscorp that's like that like
Yeah.
frames Harry out of his position. Like they literally have
Yeah.
zero character besides the fact that
Right.
they're just kind
Yeah,
of
I was
like
gonna say,
yeah,
I don't
there.
care.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
No, I don't care about them at all. And they like again, like I just think like time that they spent with those characters at all, I feel like could have, you know, gone into other parts of the movie, but whatever.
Yeah.
But they do the whole thing where they like frame Harry and then the like so I was just trying to boggle my mind around this scene, but he comes in with police and he says, you are fired from the company because you committed this crime. You covered up this thing. And then the police officers like cuff him up. Like with I thought the whole point was that they were going to arrest him. And he's like,
Mhm.
No, that
I know
was
my way out.
that was
And
security.
then he walks out. And then
They did.
I know, but like, shouldn't he have some
Well,
sort
no,
of
they
legal
didn't say they were
like
arresting
problem?
him.
And then
They just said that. Well,
he like covered up the
he-
fact that this guy
he
like
didn't.
turned
No.
into a mass huge
Harry
weapon. That's a
didn't.
huge problem.
but okay.
I know
okay.
he didn't. But they were
Yeah.
framing him
Right.
to
They're
have done
right.
that.
They're saying. Yeah.
But then Harry goes to a max security prison for
Yeah.
horribly powerful bad guys, and he like walks in and like kicks one guy, and then like steals a gun,
Two
and
guys.
then
Two
one
guys.
by
Come on.
himself infiltrates and this entire like government prison
Yeah.
to get to
Right.
Electro by himself. I was like,
It's a weird.
wow, this
So dumb.
this is
Yeah,
really
it was
dumb.
kind of at this point in the movie
Yeah.
where I would just
Because
like,
of this
stop paying
movie,
attention
you
to
still
what was
have
happening.
like 40 minutes left.
just all the Harry stuff.
I know.
All the Harry stuff
Mm.
should have not
Because
been
then,
Yeah, I
Yikes.
absolutely agree. Then literally the next thing I have in my notes, I don't know if there's something in between this. There very well might be, but the next thing I have is the scene where Peter writes out "I
there's
love
a
you"
lot
in
before
webs.
that, yeah, or not a lot, but a little bit.
I don't think it's
It's
even
not.
necessary. to
So
talk
it's
about it. I
basically
don't know what it
go to
is.
the-
To sum
I
it up
love
in a
you,
few
the
sentences,
webs.
Yeah, so-
basically Harry frees Electro by tasing him. He absorbs the electricity from the taser, kills everyone in the room. They put the doctor that was torturing Electro, they put him in the machine and shock him, whatever, put him in the water. Then they go to Oscorp, where Electro has a black bodysuit now, so he's no longer naked or wearing Adidas. And then he kills the
Oh, yeah,
one
what?
guard,
Forgot
because
about
that's a cool scene. He kills the one guard, but then he kills the other guard. He definitely kills him. I want to point that out there. He shoots him in the heart with electricity. He's dead. Okay? Harry then goes over, points a
Yeah.
gun at him. Electro has a stupid one-liner when he's like, clear. Magically brings him back to life after impaling him through the heart with electricity. And then he's like, show me to this project with whatever. Electro dips. He goes through the outlet in the floor and starts absorbing all the electricity in the building. Harry goes down with the guy. They show all of the Sinister Six. They show the Rhino suit. They show the Vulture wings. They show the Dr. Octopus arms. Harry injects himself with the spider venom. Gets in this suit so the venom doesn't kill him. Becomes a Green Goblin. After that,
Yeah. Oh, actually, that
I
transition is
hate
pretty
that
good.
scene,
The
but-
him transformation, rather. Sorry.
but
I agree. No, I
I thought it was pretty good. It's not great.
I
Wait,
didn't
but
him
like
it's
the
turning
strobe
into the
light
Green
effect.
Goblin.
Yeah.
See, here's my. I think it's a it's a well shot scene. I think it's visually pleasing, but I just think that like it just is so obviously rushed. His
Yeah.
turning into the Green Goblin,
yes.
like he climbs over to like the glider and the suit almost like as if they knew that this was going to happen to him. Like there's a perfectly fitting like suit and armor and glider and like
Right.
Green Goblin tools, as if like this was planned all along for Harry Osborn to be the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I think they had set that
I
up
was
though,
like,
that
this
they
is
well
kinda dumb.
they had set up the suit. I don't think they set up the glider, but they set up the suit that it had like minor healing capabilities, so like it could repair like nerve damage or whatever. And I think they
Yeah.
had showed him when they
'Cause it
got
was
in
for
the
super
suit.
soldiers.
Yeah, it was like the start of the movie.
They did that? I don't remember
No
that.
one would obviously remember at this point. There's still 30 minutes left in a
Oh.
2.5 hour long movie. But he like when he gets into the suit, it's cool because they like show like there's like the shoulder blade that like goes into place. So I feel like they tried to set up that it was a one size fits all kind of thing. So like it's kind of believable, but it's still really weird. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think it
it
matters.
is
I think
dumb.
it's rushed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, speaking
then
of Rush,
Andrew Garfield types.
yeah,
He
types.
makes "I love you" on the bridge, and then he gets Emma, and he's like, uh, "There's crime in England, right?" And it's like, "Aww."
and
and
at this
then-
point in the movie, I knew she was gonna die.
So
Yep.
then there's the power
And
goes
then,
out in the city, and then there's like another. The movie has this insane like they always have a side quest while the main quest is happening. The side quest in this movie is two
Always
planes
is.
that in real life would never like this would never happen, but the power goes out in New York City because of Electro. He absorbs the power grid. And then this side quest is that these two planes are on a collision course for each other. And the only way they can stop it is by having Gwen Stacy redirect the power, and then the power turns on. And instead of one plane just going lower in altitude, like they were all saying, they both make 90-degree turns in order to avoid each other.
Well, and then the entire
saved
like
the
plane
day.
crew cheers like they just like landed a Mars rover, even though they literally didn't
Because
do
they saw
anything. All they did was
'cause
wait
then
for the power
they-
to
you
come
can
back
see
on.
the two planes exit the clouds, and obviously one of them is going to be like, oh, I should probably duck. And also, there's
Right. More importantly, why does it
I
matter
don't
that
know.
this is in the movie?
No,
so
it
then we
shouldn't have been
get
a movie.
to the
It should
grand
not have been a
finale.
movie.
Finally, it's a
I know. Oh,
That's right.
And,
That's
yeah,
Electro
my,
plays
that's
Itsy Bitsy
actually-
Spider on
that's
the
actually-
like
that's
the
my
towers.
favorite
I
part of
thought
the
that was
movie.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
is
Should I
the
sing the
Itsy
song?
Spider because
I'm
Yeah.
Electro. Anyway, hold on. Can
Yeah.
I quickly give a shout out to the greatest line in any movie of all time?
Sure.
So Electro's like being Electro, and then Peter Parker jumps up, and he's like, I forget exactly what he says, but he's like,
oh yeah.
"Sparkles?"
Oh,
And then-
because so
Yeah.
so
Like,
Electro,
what?
Electro says
What?
they're gonna see me as a god, and then Spider-Man's
I'm
like
gonna
a
be a
god
god
named
or something.
Sparkles.
Yeah.
Like that was funny. But that was funny.
I'm sorry, that's the worst line ever.
It really
written.
is. Well, I have one to argue that with, because there may be one line that's even worse. Because right after this fight, that is so anticlimactic. It's so dumb. Basically, he gets hit by a car, and then he has like rubber or magnet webs. I don't know. So, and then Green Goblin shows up. Why? I don't know. And he then sees Gwen Stacy, and he's like, "Wait, this is Peter Parker." And instead of just like saying like, "Oh, you're Peter Parker," he goes, "When you said Spider-Man said no."
Well,
You
at that
meant
point he's
you said
crazy
no.
at that point.
And I was like,
I get what you're saying though.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they couldn't have written a better line. Good God, that made I was like, oh God.
Blake. At this point in the movie, where are you at? What are you feeling? Have you what's going on for you?
Well, here's the thing. When I watch movies, my first instinct is not to analyze. So I
Yeah,
was just
that's
kind of
fine.
going with whatever happened, especially because I'm not like a superhero movie person.
Yeah.
So I was just, all this chaos. I was just going with it. I was
Right.
like, okay, like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
guess.
So
Makes enough sense.
besides
Yeah.
the glaring
Yeah.
issue with the final fight that Spider-Man should not be able to hit a being made of pure electricity. Okay? Electro doesn't have to show up for the
Yeah,
entire
but-
fight. He doesn't.
But Cameron, he's the amazing
But he-
Spider-Man. He's amazing.
That's right.
I forgot about that line too.
All right. So
did that.
we already talked about the clock scene.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know,
Yeah, the
the
death
end
Gwen
of this
Stacy.
movie, the end credits, they try and set up the Sinister Six. In the comics, the Sinister Six, they're a group of Spider-Man villains.
Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man has arguably one of the better rogues gallery in comics. So what they do is they set it up for the next movie. Um, so after the death of Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man goes into mourning for a month at a time. Then Alexei, whoever, the Russian guy from the
I like
start of
that
the
scene.
movie, they break him out of this facility called the Raft. However, that is a total ripoff as to what the Raft is in the comics because he's not superpowered yet. Raft is specifically built only for superpowered people. Regardless, they put him in this
Right. And he's just a
abomination
dude.
of a mech suit that no single iteration
Dude, he's the
of the Rhino
bro.
in any form of media looks like this, at least to my knowledge. The Rhino,
Yeah, because he's just
yeah.
a dude.
So
He's just a dude
in
in
the
a suit.
comics,
No.
Yeah.
But
in
guys,
the comics,
he's
he
the
actually
Rhino.
he undergoes surgery to get this suit, basically this like rubber suit grafted onto his body that gives him like strength, durability, speed, whatever. It's not this mech suit with machine guns and.
Wait.
But he's not.
But Cameron,
That's the thing.
Cameron,
He's
he's
not.
the Rhino though.
He's a guy. He's
He
a guy
really
in a
is.
mech suit. And then
No, but
this
Cameron,
stupid
he's
kid
the Rhino.
somehow
Right.
ducks underneath the metal like barrier, whatever. Ducks underneath. The cops let him run by the police barricade, and it's this tiny little kid. Don't do anything. They let him go, and then they stop the mom from saving her child.
Who is so hot. Hottest mom in the entire movie.
That's what you were talking about?
Yes,
This
his
whole
mom.
time?
Yes, it was his mom.
It's
That
true.
little kid's mom, hottest mom in the movie.
I think she was the only mom in the movie besides
That's probably not
Peter's
true.
mom that dies in the first scene.
Yeah.
Gwen
so
Stacy's
then,
mom is there.
so
That's
then
true.
this
That's true.
kid.
Poor Gwen Stacy's mom. Her like husband died in the last one,
True.
and then now her daughter dies in this one.
So this kid wears his homemade Spider-Man costume, which is really adorable. He goes up, he puts his mask on. He's braver than I think any kid in their right mind would be. And because it's cool.
Yeah, I actually
It's
like
also
the
cool because they were
symbolism
like,
of this scene.
oh,
It's dumb, but I
maybe
like
that
the
kid's
symbolism.
Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like maybe, but whatever. So then, they show Spider-Man, he's back, he saves the kid, because that's the kid from earlier that he had saved, which is a cool callback. And then we get this tease of an ending where Rhino does the stupid charge and he fires missiles at Spider-Man. Spider-Man grabs a sewer grate, blocks somehow the first missile, which does no damage to anything, hits the second missile into a building. Rest in peace, anyone who was in that room. And then right before he
there was
hits
no one in the building. It's
Rhino
okay.
with the sewer grate, it cuts the credits. It's done. Movie's over. It is a waste of the character.
It is dumb. Yeah.
Guys,
So
God, I don't know.
guys,
All right, we've
guys.
spent a lot of time on this on this movie.
No.
It's a long movie, so like
Final
No,
understandably.
hold
but-
on.
Well,
Hold
Can
on.
we do final thoughts and
No,
stuff?
I'm just
Let
saying.
me-
Yeah, I think let's move
let
off
me-
of like topic.
Listen, we summarized the movie. That
Yeah.
was the movie. Here we go. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I am about to defend this movie.
Okay. Go
Here's
ahead.
the deal. All the stuff we talked about, like, it doesn't matter because this movie is a good movie. So
when
yeah.
when you said you were going to
That's
defend it,
your
I thought you were
argument?
going to give an actual argument.
No. No, okay, here I actually do have a genuine actual argument. I think
Okay.
if you look at a lot of the, because there's obviously obvious things to poke and like things to make fun of in this movie, and there's obvious problems with it, but I think, generally speaking, I think this movie is very easy to watch. I think it has a lot of forward momentum. I mean, I think there's not a lot of character development and all that good stuff, but like, I mean, there's a lot going on, and I think that I think they really got Peter Parker right, and I think they got Andrew Garfield. His performance is good, and I think that it might just another thing too is the music in this movie. I think is incredible. I love the music.
It's pretty good.
I love
It
the
is pretty
score.
good.
Yes.
And I just think that, uh, like you can get stuck in all the things that are just memes about this movie, but in general, I think it's pretty darn entertaining, and I think there's a lot of really strong elements amongst the dumb stuff.
Bla-
So that's my 2 cents, I guess.
That's fair. I definitely think my like overall thoughts are that there is a good movie in there, but there's way too much dumb stuff in there that should have
Yeah.
been cut, which definitely takes away from how I feel about the movie. Because if the good parts were the only parts of the movie, I would really like this movie.
They should have just got rid of Harry Osborn and then made
Right.
the Electro more of a compelling villain, and then you've got a good movie. You know what? Another thing I don't like about the ending, really quick though, is that I think that they spend all this time setting up the fact that setting up the Gwen's death, and I feel like
Yeah.
Yes.
they should have
Sorry.
he should spend an entire movie dealing with Gwen's death. It takes
Well,
him
no, but
3 minutes, and then he's like, oh yeah.
I completely agree. That was like my biggest beef with the movie. She's teaching him this lesson, and then he
Well,
goes right back to what he was doing before. Like he,
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would
He
I would
spends a
argue
couple
So
that
months
quick.
mourning her
I mean
death,
I agree
but
that
yeah,
but
I
like
don't
they
know.
show that it's a long span of time before he gets back into it. Like I know they sure go ahead instead of making like
I
a
know what you
2 minute time skip of him going through however many months mourning, have it like a longer time skip? Like I don't know how
I think the movie
Well,
should have ended with
yeah
him grieving.
no I would
personally.
agree.
Yeah.
But
Either
I
that
agree.
or right. The time skip, it's a long time, but it doesn't feel like a long time because this
No.
movie's 2.5 hours long, and the time
Mm.
skip scene is like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Whereas there are so many scenes of planes not crashing that are
I
5,
was
10
in
minutes
mourning
long,
for this
you know?
movie.
So
Yeah.
you wanna say this is a long time, yeah. You want to say that this is a long time and make it a long time skip. Give it some length,
Mhm.
because it doesn't feel like a long time.
Blake, what are
in,
your
like, in actuality.
final thoughts on the movie?
yeah, but
My final thoughts. I would say, it is too long, but I do really I love the actor
Mhm.
chemistry, and a lot of the acting seemed really genuine, which made me feel for a
Agreed.
lot of the characters. And also, Spider-Man's just like a cool, likable character. Like again, I don't watch
Yeah.
superhero movies, but
agreed.
I did like
Mhm.
some of the silly banter and stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
But my biggest issues, the whole Gwen teaching Peter this lesson, but it not fully hitting, or at least
Yeah.
for me, I didn't feel that way.
Right.
Also, in the trailer, they show the Rhino ending, and they just teased it in the trailer and also at
Mhm.
the end of the movie. I thought that was interesting. And then also the whole Harry Osborn character. I don't like how he was the one who inevitably killed Gwen, because I feel like Electro should have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
but
Makes
I
way more
did
sense.
like the movie.
Edison,
I
what were
liked
your
the
thoughts?
movie. So.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Oh, okay.
Well, I kind of already gave them just that. I think that
Yeah.
there was, just like a lot in there that should not have been in there. Has everybody
I haven't
given their
mine
final
yet. I'll
thoughts?
try
I
and
think
make mine
so, right?
quick. So
Okay, then Cameron. Yeah. Cameron.
I'm gonna start with the positives because I feel like the entire time I've only been bad mouthing the movie. Positives, I liked the Spider-Man doing Spider-Man stuff. I thought the web singing looked really cool. I thought they showed that he was kind of on his feet with how he could use his web shooters, especially with one of them being broken. I thought the itsy bitsy spider where Electro is bouncing Spider-Man off the Tesla coils, that was a really cool scene.
Mhm.
That was just cool. They could have made it cheesy, and they could have used the
Right.
Amazing Spider-Man theme again, but they didn't. They went with Itsy Bitsy Spider, which is super clever. I also thought the
Right.
time motif, even though it's also one of my nitpicks about it. It was a pretty good theme for the movie. We don't have time, cherish what you have. That being said, Andrew Garfield's interpretation of Spider-Man is my least favorite of the three that we have: Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. The reason Andrew Garfield he's a fine actor. He did great in this movie, right? The acting was fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the interpretation of Spider-Man in this movie. I'm fine if you want to, as I had previously stated, I'm fine if you want to make the characters a little different from the source material. But if you make Spider-Man at his core is a genius. He's super nerdy. He's super awkward. Doesn't really know how to communicate with girls. And he's learning how to use his powers because he's going through puberty at the time. The only thing I got from Andrew Garfield's interpretation was the awkwardness. He was super awkward the whole movie, and most characters can be described as the word wet. They looked wet the entire movie. Max Dillon was wet the entire his face, he looked physically wet. Like he was sweating in every scene he was in. He was wet all the time. Andrew Garfield was wet it was weird. It was just weird. But I thought it was Spider-Man isn't supposed to really be like this hippie guy or whatever. Andrew Garfield is just he's a dumb character. He plays a dumb character. Spider-Man is not looking up a 3-minute YouTube video on how he knows batteries work. And he doesn't even figure it out in that montage. Gwen Stacy tells him how to fix his problem. Because that's what Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is. Without Gwen Stacy, they barely show him without Gwen Stacy. If they had shown him detached from Gwen Stacy, he probably could have been a better character. But it's every single time something goes wrong in his life, Gwen Stacy is the know-all. She has to know what I should do. He can't solve any problems by himself. Yeah. So what are we rating this movie?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I was gonna say we should all go around and give a rating out of 10, and then say how we're feeling.
All right.
A rate,
Zach?
rank the 3 Spider-Men.
All right, I'll go first. This is a 10 out of 10. The comic books don't matter.
So can you give an
and
honest
Andrew Garfield's
review?
the best
Because I know it's
Spider-Man
not
I've
10
had.
out of 10. You know it's not 10 out of 10. Yeah.
No, okay. So it's not a 10 out of 10 movie, but I will say, don't you guys have those movies that it's like a guilty pleasure? You have, for whatever reason, you're able to just see past all the problems and you just love it.
Yeah.
That's how I am with this movie. I just love it. I just think it's fun. I think it's good. So, I mean, if I'm speaking, trying to be objective, it's probably a 6 out of 10. But in my heart, it's a 10 out of 10. So, there you go.
Fair. I'll go next. I think my personal opinion on it is it's probably in between a 6 and a 7 out of 10 for me. Maybe more on the 6 side. But there are definitely a lot of parts that I do like. I do think that Andrew Garfield ranks last for me at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Absolutely unacceptable.
Tom Holland being top, and then Maguire, then Garfield, but not by a long shot. It's not a big gap.
It's horrible.
That would
Okay.
That's
sorry. I give it a 5 out of 10 just because I just don't think
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I really just like awful movies. So yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. And I don't know. I've never seen any other Spider-Man movie, so I can't contribute to that.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, I would probably give it, if I had to be honest, either a 4.5 or a 5 out of 10. And he's definitely the worst of the 3 Spider-Men. Tom Holland is on top.
Tom Holland's
I will say,
overrated. This is not
okay.
right.
So all right. So Zach, here's my reasoning. I think Andrew Garfield has, or at least they show Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man having some of the best like web slinging scenes compared to the other two. I think Tom Holland has the best interpretation of Spider-Man. That's why I'm ranking him higher than the other two. Because I'm not having a 33-year-old man play an 18-year-old. I'd rather have like a mid-20-year-old play like an 18-year-old.
Right.
Like it's close. It's a closer age gap. He looks younger. Andrew Garfield is, it's whatever. But yeah,
No,
I'll stick with a 4.5 out of 10.
I respect your take on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Tom Holland
So
is a great Peter Parker.
Yeah. So unfortunately, because this is our first episode, that means out of our rank of movies, The Amazing Spider-Man is 1 out of 1.
Yeah, so it's first and last.
It'll stay that way too.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm gonna intentionally give all other movies zeros.
Right.
So that Amazing Spider-Man stays on top.
I bet you will. I know. We'll need to, once we get going, we'll need to start doing some math. All right. Well, I think that means it's time to spin that MF wheel, Cameron.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. So for those of you who don't know, we have a wheel that now at the which we'll do at the end of every episode. I will spin this wheel, and it will basically tell us what movie or maybe TV show what we're doing next.
It might not be.
So I shall spin the wheel.
It might not be the end of every episode because some
Better
weeks
not
we'll
be
do stuff
past.
like
Yeah.
we'll do stuff like recent or like
Yeah.
like Halloween time. We'll do Halloween stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Better not be
All right.
cats.
And it
So
could be cats.
I have the
Better be
movie that we are
cats.
doing next.
All right.
The movie that the S.I.C.K podcast will be covering next is Detective Pikachu.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh my lord.
I'm so excited.
Wait, are we just picking these movies for Zach?
Guys, why do you love me so much?
We really do, apparently.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh
I like
my
Detective
God.
Pikachu, but yeah.
I don't think I did, but we'll see. I'll need to see about the
Blake, have
rewatch.
you seen it?
Wait, have I seen it?
I don't know. Have you?
Oh my
Um,
I don't know.
God.
When did it come
I
out?
know Zach,
I don't know. Zach
Zach
Cameron
Edison,
and
I
yeah,
saw it.
we saw it together.
because, yeah, we
Okay.
saw it was 2 years ago,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
right?
Okay, I haven't seen it.
All
All
right.
right. Well, so next
Well-
week we're doing Detective Pikachu, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
And
that should be good.
yeah, so thanks for tuning in to the socially. What's the name of the podcast?
Socially
Socially isolated college
Isolated.
kids.
All right,
podcast.
thanks for tuning in to the Socially Isolated College Kid Podcast. You can find us wherever podcasts are made, right, Edison?
That is true. Yeah, it'll be up on YouTube, Spotify,
And,
Apple Music. But if you're listening to this, you probably know that.
Yep, and do the Insta, follow the Insta, and all that good stuff.
It's at
Yeah.
S.I.C.K podcast.
Yeah, make sure and to just follow
also,
the podcast.
Yep.
Future reference, our episodes aren't going to be this long in the future. This was just a really
Yeah.
long movie.
Unless we
Yep.
do Blade Runner 2049, because that movie's even longer.
Oh, God. I'm not ready.
All
right.
Well,
All right.
see you next week there,
Bye.
fellow sick
Bye.
listeners.
Bye.